My name is Sara, and 5 years of my life vanished in the blink of an eye. When I opened my eyes in a sterile hospital room, the world as I knew it was gone, replaced by a void of unfamiliarity. The doctors told me I had been in a coma after a devastating car accident. 5 years. 5 long years lost to darkness. The first face I saw was my fiancé, Nathan. He looked older, wearier, and his smile, though warm, carried a sadness I couldn't quite place. "Sara, you're awake," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. His voice trembled, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He held my hand tightly, but his touch felt different, less like love and more like guilt. The nurses bustled around, checking my vitals, exclaiming how miraculous it was that I had woken up after so long. But their voices felt distant, overshadowed by the storm of questions in my head. Where was my family? Why wasn't my sister, Megan, here? And why did Nathan seem so hesitant, almost guarded, as if he were hiding something? Nathan explained Megan's absence with a rehearsed ease that only made me more suspicious. She moved overseas for work. It was hard for her, Sara, but life had to go on. His tone was casual, but his words were deliberate, like he was trying to convince me, or himself. Nathan brought me home to the house we had shared before the accident, but it no longer felt like mine. The furniture was different, the walls painted in colors I didn't recognize. Even the scent of the place was unfamiliar. I wandered through the house on my own one afternoon, hoping to reconnect with something familiar. That's when I found the locked door at the end of the hallway, a room that used to be a guest bedroom. When I asked Nathan about it, he shrugged. "It's just storage," he said quickly, almost too quickly. But the way his voice tightened told me otherwise. Nathan tried to make me feel comfortable, cooking my favorite meals and filling my days with soft reassurances. But beneath his kindness lay a growing tension. He would stiffen whenever I asked too many questions about the past 5 years. When I mentioned Megan again one evening, he snapped. "Why can't you just focus on recovering?" he barked. "She's not here. That's all you need to know." His reaction caught me off guard. Nathan had always been patient and calm. This outburst was unlike him. It only fueled my determination to dig deeper. Late one night, when Nathan had gone out for a quick errand, I decided to pick the lock to the guest room. My heart pounded as I slipped a bobby pin into the keyhole. After a few tense moments, the lock clicked and the door creaked open. Inside, I found boxes stacked neatly along the walls. One box sat open on a table, revealing an old photo album. My hands shook as I flipped through it. The album was filled with pictures of Nathan standing at the altar with a woman I didn't recognize. She had long blonde hair and a radiant smile. Written in delicate gold letters on the cover were the words, "Nathan and Emily, forever." Who is Emily? I demanded the next morning, holding up the album. Nathan froze, his face pale as a sheet. "Emily was someone I cared about while you were gone," he said, his voice trembling. "I thought I lost you, Sara. I didn't know if you'd ever wake up." His confession hit me like a punch to the gut. While I had been trapped in darkness, he had fallen in love with someone else, married her, and now she was gone too. Nathan claimed Emily had passed away a year ago, but his story felt rehearsed, as if he were leaving out key details. And the way he avoided my eyes when he spoke only deepened my suspicions. As I struggled to process Nathan's betrayal, fragments of memory from the night of the accident began to surface. In these flashes, there was shouting, an argument so heated it made my chest tighten. And then there were the headlights, blindingly bright, and the sickening sound of metal crunching against metal. I tried to piece it together, but the memories were too fragmented, like a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. One thing stood out, though. I wasn't alone in the car. Determined to uncover the truth, I searched the house for more clues. In the attic, buried beneath old Christmas decorations, I found a diary. It belonged to Megan. Her final entry sent chills down my spine. "I can't keep this secret any longer. If Sara ever wakes up, she deserves to know the truth. Nathan will hate me, but she's my sister. She has a right to know everything." When I confronted Nathan about the diary, his reaction was explosive. "Why are you digging into the past?" he shouted, his voice shaking with anger. "It won't change anything. Megan is gone, and Emily is gone. You're all I have left, Sara." His words were desperate, almost pleading, but they only confirmed my fears. He was hiding something, and Megan's disappearance was at the heart of it. As the days passed, strange things began to happen. I found a photo of Megan in a drawer, her face scratched out. A neighbor mentioned seeing Nathan with another woman just months before I woke up. And then there was the letter. It arrived in the mail one afternoon, written in shaky handwriting. "Sara, don't trust Nathan. He's not who you think he is." Megan knew the truth, and it cost her everything. Who sent the letter? What had Megan known that made her a target? And could I trust my own memories? As I stared at the letter, a realization dawned on me. The night of the accident wasn't an accident at all. But if that were true, who had been behind the wheel? Nathan or Megan? I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't let this go. I stared at the letter, my hands trembling. The words, "Don't trust Nathan," were seared into my mind, but the cryptic warning only deepened the mystery. Who had sent it? What truth had Megan uncovered, and why had it cost her everything? Nathan came home that evening, oblivious to the storm raging in my mind. He kissed my forehead and asked about my day as if we were just another couple navigating normal life. But there was nothing normal about my life or him. That night, as Nathan slept, I quietly slipped out of bed and retrieved the letter from its hiding spot in my bedside table. I examined every detail, hoping for some hidden clue. There was nothing except the words and the overwhelming feeling that someone out there wanted to help me. The next morning, my phone rang. The number was blocked. "Hello?" I answered, my voice shaky. "Stop asking questions," a distorted voice warned. "You're not ready for the answers." Before I could respond, the line went dead. My heart pounded. Someone was watching me, listening to me. But who? And why? I didn't tell Nathan about the call. Instead, I decided to confide in someone I hadn't seen since waking up, Detective Liam Price, the officer assigned to my accident years ago. Detective Price's office hadn't changed in 5 years. The smell of stale coffee lingered, and his desk was still buried under piles of paperwork. When he saw me walk in, his eyes widened in disbelief. "Sara? I heard you woke up, but wow." He shook his head, struggling to find the words. "What brings you here?" I handed him the letter and told him everything: Nathan's secrets, Megan's disappearance, Emily's death, and the argument I vaguely remembered from the night of the accident. Price leaned back in his chair, his expression grim. "You're not wrong to be suspicious. After your accident, there were inconsistencies in Nathan's story. But without hard evidence, my hands were tied." He pulled out an old file labeled Sara Collins, accident report. "I'll reopen the case, but be careful. If Nathan's hiding something, he won't take kindly to you digging into his past." That evening, while Nathan was in the shower, I searched his study for anything incriminating. In the back of a drawer, I found an old phone, one I had never seen before. It was locked, but curiosity got the better of me. I brought the phone to a tech-savvy friend, Olivia, who managed to unlock it. What we found left us both speechless. Texts between Nathan and Megan. "Megan, I can't keep lying to her, Nathan. She deserves to know. Nathan, if you tell her, you'll regret it. Stay out of this." Photos of Emily in our house. They were dated just weeks before my accident. Armed with the texts and photos, I confronted Nathan. He didn't deny it. Instead, his expression darkened, and his voice dropped to a menacing tone I had never heard before. "You don't understand, Sara. Everything I did was for us. For you. For me." I scoffed. "You lied to me, cheated on me, and now Megan is missing. What else are you hiding?" His jaw tightened. "You don't want to know." That night, I locked the bedroom door and slept with a knife under my pillow. The memories of the accident came back stronger than ever. In my dreams, I saw flashes of Megan's face, her eyes filled with fear. I heard her voice shouting, "You're making a mistake." When I woke up, I was drenched in sweat. Was she talking to me or Nathan? And what mistake had she meant? One day, while Nathan was at work, I noticed something strange about the basement. The door, which was usually locked, had been left ajar. I hesitated for a moment before descending the creaky stairs. At first, the basement seemed unremarkable, just old furniture and boxes. But then I noticed a section of the floor that looked newer than the rest. My stomach churned as I realized what it might mean. Using a crowbar, I pried up the floorboards. Beneath them, I found a small box containing Megan's necklace, the one she always wore. Desperate for answers, I spoke to our elderly neighbor, Mrs. Harper, who had lived next door for decades. "I always thought something was strange about Nathan," she said, her voice low. "I saw him arguing with a woman in the driveway the night of your accident. She didn't look like you. Was it Megan?" I asked, my heart racing. Mrs. Harper nodded. "Yes, dear. It was her." Detective Price called me a few days later with a breakthrough. He had tracked Megan's last known location to a small town 2 hours away. She had checked into a motel but never checked out. Security footage showed her meeting Nathan in the parking lot. After that, she vanished. When I confronted Nathan with this new information, he finally cracked. Megan threatened to expose everything, he admitted, his voice shaking. "She was going to ruin us, Sara." I had to stop her. Tears streamed down his face, but I felt no sympathy. "What did you do to her, Nathan?" His silence was deafening. The anonymous letter, the hidden phone, the nightmares, they all pointed to one truth. Megan had known something that cost her life. But what was it? One night, I returned to the attic and found a second diary tucked inside an old box. This one belonged to Emily. Her final entry read, "Nathan isn't who he seems. If you're reading this, Sara, run. He's dangerous." Realizing I was in danger, I packed a bag and fled in the middle of the night. I went to Detective Price and handed over everything I had found, the texts, the photos, Megan's necklace, and Emily's diary. Nathan was arrested the next morning, but his smug expression as he was led away told me it wasn't over. Months later, I received another letter in the same shaky handwriting. "You've only scratched the surface. There's more to the story, but you're not ready for it yet." Who sent the letters? Was Nathan the mastermind, or was there someone else pulling the strings? And what really happened to Megan and Emily? The answers might be out there, but one thing is certain: my life will never be the same. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, please.